Poltergeist activity in Abbotskerswell. In the sleepy village of Abbotskerswell, nestled in the rolling hills of Devon, the winter of 1963 brought more than just the usual chill. Christmas was approaching, and while most homes glowed with the warmth of holiday cheer, one old house stood apart, its darkened windows whispering tales of unrest. The house, weathered and steeped in history, had once been a single grand residence, but time and necessity had carved it into a cluster of modest flats. For years, it had sat quietly, its past locked away, until a young couple moved into one of its rooms and unwittingly stirred something dormant. The trouble began subtly. A chair shifted when no one was near. Footsteps echoed across the floorboards in the dead of night. The couple, John and Emily, newlyweds with dreams of a simple life, brushed it off at first, blaming the creaks of an old house settling in the frost. But soon, the disturbances grew impossible to ignore. Cups flew from shelves, shattering against the walls. Doors slammed with no wind to push them. One night, Emily awoke to find their bed shaking, as though seized by invisible hands, while John clutched her in terror, unable to explain the force that rattled their world. Whispers of the house's history crept into their conversations. An older neighbor, her voice hushed over a cup of tea, told them what the village had long tried to forget. Decades earlier, a man had taken his own life within those walls. His despair, it seemed, had never left. The couple's flat had become a stage for his restless fury, and the violence escalated with each passing day. Furniture toppled, windows cracked, and a chilling presence seemed to watch them from every shadowed corner. Unable to bear it any longer, they fled to the church, pleading for help. On a crisp December morning, just days before Christmas, Dr. Mortimer, the Bishop of Exeter, arrived. A man of stern faith and steady hands, he carried with him the weight of his office and a vial of holy water. The couple led him to the flat, their faces pale and drawn, as a small crowd of curious villagers gathered at a safe distance. Inside, the air hung heavy, thick with an unseen malice. The bishop moved methodically, his voice rising in prayer as he sprinkled the blessed water across the scarred floorboards and trembling walls. The house seemed to resist, rattling pipes and flickering lights, but as his incantations grew louder, a stillness settled, like a storm finally breaking. Christmas came, and peace returned to the flat. John and Emily, tentative but relieved, began to rebuild their life, the terror fading into memory. The village buzzed with cautious relief, grateful that the bishop's intervention had quieted the unseen force. But the story didn't end there. Weeks later, a peculiar report surfaced in the local press. Another tenant in the same house, a widow living in a flat across the hall, claimed the disturbances had followed the exorcism, but in a different form. She described a figure appearing in her rooms. A man dressed in Edwardian clothes, his face shadowed but his presence undeniable. He didn't hurl objects or shake the walls. Instead, he stood silently, watching her with hollow eyes before vanishing into the ether. The widow swore it was the same spirit, displaced but not destroyed. Perhaps the very man who had ended his life so long ago, now wandering the house. He could not leave. In Abbotskerswell, the old house still stands, its flats occupied by those who either don't know the tale or choose not to believe it. But every so often, when the wind howls through the village at Christmas, someone claims to catch a glimpse of a figure in outdated attire, lingering at the edge of sight, a reminder that some restless souls, even when quieted, never truly depart. Many thanks for treading this haunted tale's dark path. If its chill gripped you, like, follow, subscribe, and murmur your secrets below. Care to summon more? The coffee link below beckons. Heed its call.